Alright, so today our goddess is Inanna. Don't mind Abby back there, that's my little baby. I did some research and some meditation with the energy of Inanna. I have her oracle card here on my altar with some roses. And then I made a bowl of water with some essential oils that she likes. She's the goddess of love and war, so with the roses, I also have my ritual dagger here. War, hello. Never used it, don't be scared. But the energy is there. And then I also have a candle that I made myself as part of my ritual bath sets that I make, which are linked in the description box. They are charged under the full moon every month, depending on what line you purchase, different energy. Last one was Sanctuary. Next one is going to be Fire and Ice. So anyways, speaking of fire and ice, Inanna, she is, like I said, the goddess of fertility, love, war, beauty. The myth that Inanna is associated with, there's a few different ones, but the most popular one is called the Descent of Inanna. So Inanna was the goddess of heaven and earth, and her sister was the queen of the underworld. And for the reason kind of like varies based on the myth, but Inanna decided to go into the underworld to either meet with her sister. Some versions say that she was trying to console her sister after her sister's husband had passed away. Either way, she makes a conscious, intentional decision to descend into the underworld. Before she goes, though, she leaves behind her husband, and she had just been a witness to another sacred union partnership in her world that had kind of like opened up her heart and mind to the possibility that maybe there's more out there as far as a sacred union goes, and that the current relationship that she was in was not meeting that standard. So she has that kind of in the back of her mind, but she also has a trusted advisor. She's a queen, so she has a royal court, if you will. She has a trusted advisor who she tells, hey, if I'm not back in 3 days and 3 nights, go get somebody, go get some help, because something's wrong. Because my intention is to go in, get something, get back out, right? Like, plan. So anyway, so she descends into the underworld, and as a part of that process, she has to pass through 7 gates and 7 gods of the Anunnaki. And I don't think this is coincidental. My hunch is that these 7 gates and 7 gods correspond to the 7 chakras, and the underworld is the shadow expression of each of these 7 chakras. So we don't really get a whole lot of detail as far as that goes, because that's a personal exploration. And it was for Inanna as well. But what they do say is that as she goes through each of these gates, she's required to strip down and to like sacrifice something. So she goes in like with her crown and with all of her royal jewelry, and at each gate she has to remove, something important. So by the end of it, she's down and dirty, and she is like stripped down, completely naked. No crown, no, status. This is the underworld. She's the queen of heaven and earth. So she has no sovereignty, no power in the underworld. The underworld abides by completely different laws and rules than her realm. This is her sister's realm. So she gets down to the nitty-gritty, deep bottom of the underworld, finds her sister there. Well, her sister doesn't believe that Inanna is there for the reasons that she says she is, or for any good purpose. She thinks she's trying to take over her throne, or just is greedy or something like that. So the Anunnaki, basically, they kill her. She dies, and they hang her up on a hook, her body on a hook. And so, needless to say, she does not return in 3 days and 3 nights. So her trusted friend alerts like a bunch of different gods and goddesses, and some of them are like, sorry, not my problem, can't help you. Finally, he encounters Enki, A-N-K-E, the god of wisdom, and he agrees to, this is the weird part, he creates two genderless beings from the dirt under his fingernail. Weird, I know. And sends them into the underworld to fetch Inanna and bring her back to life. He gives them food and water of life. And they're able to slip past the gates because they're genderless. Not sure what that part's about. I think actually we'll circle back to that because I think there is a meaning there. Yeah, there is a meaning there. So anyway, they're able to go to her and give her the food and the water of life and breathe the breath of life into her, and so she revives. She revives, and the genderless beings are also able to show empathy to her sister. Her sister's name is Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld, and they're able to empathize with her and her loss of her husband and convince her that Inanna should be able to go back to her realm. And she's like, okay, fine, but you need to bring me a replacement. So Inanna is escorted back into the earth, the realm of the earth, where she happens to find her husband just like partying it up. But meanwhile, like, assuming she's dead, he's just like living it up, like drinking, eating, probably banging random chicks, doing whatever, does not give a shit that she's gone. So she's like, looks like the perfect replacement for me, right? So she takes him back to the underworld and gives him to her sister as her replacement because he was POS to her. So we're gonna get to like some of the lessons here, but Homeboy's sister, her husband's sister, now that he's in the underworld, sister has this husband back, and she's like, what the hell? No, this isn't gonna happen. So sister of husband volunteers herself, begs for Inanna's mercy, and says, if you let him go half of the year, I'll take his place and we'll just switch back and forth. So that's in the myth, that's where the summer and the winter come from. When her husband, his name is Danuzi. When Danuzi is in the underworld, then that's winter, death, and rest. And when he's in the earthly realms, then that's when like abundance and fertility and summer are around. And Inanna's descent into the underworld actually caused the earth to experience a drought, and because she's the goddess of fertility and abundance, and so when she's in the underworld, like, things don't work very well. So even though a couple of the other gods and goddesses said no originally to help her, eventually like shit would have hit the fan and they would have had to come get her. But when I meditated about the energy, or with the energy of Inanna, she kind of like gave me some messages to express her energy, and I truly believe like this energy is meant to help me in my life right now. It's probably meant to help you if you're watching this. So, take that for what it is. But she represents the sacred union of equal opposites. So the sun and the moon are opposites. Men and women are different, but the sun is equal to the moon. Men are equal to women. They look different. They're not the same, but they're equal in value. And so this is the kind of sacred relationship that Inanna was craving, that she wasn't experiencing with her husband. And in order for her to experience that, she had to descend into the underworld and learn and be reborn and die to her old self completely and find the gold and bring it back up and be reborn into this new version of herself. So she also represents this divine balance. It's kind of like this yin and yang, and that's where I think the genderless beings are represented, and how they're able to slip past the gates of the underworld is because they're so balanced in their integration of their own shadow and light and their masculine and feminine, that they're just like, does not compute to the matrix, right? Like, you're so integrated that you're able to play whatever role you need to get what you need done, kind of like Neo in the Matrix. Depending on the situation, you can like change your form, like almost like a chameleon. So that's the gift of integration and shadow work, is to be able to balance your opposites internally in this sacred union. also her being hung on the hook is similar to like the crucifixion of Jesus. Every different hero kind of has this story that repeats across different genders and times. But it's also the hanged man in the tarot. When you're hanging upside down and you have no escape and there's nowhere to go, you reach a different perspective. And once you reach that different perspective, you kind of like find your way out of that situation and like pull yourself up, and you're like, wait a second, I can get out of this, you know? So for her way out, and this is a message that she gave me, she said, a queen only remains a queen if she inspires loyalty in her royal court. So love requires action. If somebody really loves you and is loyal to you, they're going to act accordingly. They're going to go after you in the underworld and save your ass. They're not just going to be like, oh, sorry, not my problem, or I'm just going to party it up while my wife's away, right? Like, that's what her husband did. And that's the other message she gave me, which is very important for people who are protecting the love, like, that you have to give to another is sacred. And the message she gave me, quote, the capacity to love deeply without solid boundaries is reckless exposure and self-erasure. You expose yourself to be dominated and controlled and erased and self-abandoned if you love and love and love and show your love without any boundaries. And she also said, don't cast your pearls amongst swine. That quote comes from somewhere else, but the message is the same. That's kind of like what she was saying about her husband. Like, know who you're giving your sacred love to and whether they deserve it. Because you can't expect to cast pearls to pigs who eat slop and expect them to appreciate the essence of the pearl. It's your fault for casting your pearls amongst the swine and not recognizing that they're swine. Granted, sometimes it's really hard to spot swine in our day-to-day lives because of illusion and deception and, you know, looks and beauty. Like, there's all of these illusions that don't necessarily coincide with who someone is on the inside. So having that wisdom and that clarity of who to give your energy to and your love to and who not to. And that love requires action and reciprocation. So you are a sacred vessel and you should treat yourself as such. Self-protection is divine. So making sure that before anyone gets access to you and your divine presence and your sacred love, that they meet the standards of someone that you want to be able to access your energy. And that happens over time. We all make mistakes with that, but we have to learn and grow from that. And that's also why Inanna's, the God that helped her was the God of wisdom. So that wisdom is imbued in her story as well, of learning from your mistakes and also the balance between the vengeance that she takes against her husband, but also with mercy and with empathy of saying, okay, fine, only half the year. The other half, your sister can go down there. And then also the empathy that her sister ended up having for the beings that came to save Inanna and saying like, okay, fine, she can go, but you need to bring me somebody else to take her place. So this whole journey represents Inanna's ego death. And she, from the beginning, before she ever even goes into the underworld, she's a woman on a mission. And I think like panther energy, like lioness, like panther prowess. She's prepared. She has a plan. Before she ever even goes, she tells people what she's doing. And if I don't come back, come and get me. She's focused and intentional with her descent into the underworld. She doesn't go in there intentionless, just fucking around and finding out in the underworld. Because the underworld is ruled by a completely different set of laws and rules. And she has no power over that. So sovereignty is knowing when you're above your head and when you have to play by the rules versus not. And then there is this whole concept of the hostage, like Inanna was the hostage originally, replaced her with her husband, and then the husband's replaced half the year with the sister, and it's like, okay, well, this is a law of the underworld, right? Like, there's no arguing with it. There's no way around it. I think that this hostage thing kind of represents possession in the earthly realm. So like when people drink, right? Drinks are called spirits for a reason, because I mean, if you've ever been, we've all been around somebody who drank too much and turned like psycho evil out of nowhere, right? Because the drinks open you up to your subconscious, your repressed feelings. Things can just ebb and flow that you wouldn't normally say or do. So I think that's like an analogy maybe for the underworld and how it might leak out into other things and how it has to grab something. I don't know. Still working with that one. But yeah, this balance between not vengeance so much, but like sovereignty and worthiness, balance and judgment, divine judgment. Like it was the divine judgment of her sister that said, you have to bring a replacement. Like that's the rule. You can't break the rule or you're screwed. You die. And then Inanna's divine judgment of her husband's coming to take her place, and that's what she says, so that goes. So that balanced with mercy and compassion is what creates the integration point here in this story. Also, the wisdom of through truth and vulnerability and the courage to take action. So she had the courage to take action to go in, and she had the courage to take action when she went out, to go get her husband and bring him back or do whatever she needed to do. And this feminine empowerment of like, I have just as much of a right to be here and to be happy as you do. And I'm gonna make sure that I do what's right for me and also what's right for everybody else involved. The last message she gave me, which is for all of us, is I'm proud of you. You should be proud of you. We don't back down from a challenge. So if you're watching this, you're like me and like Inanna, we love a good challenge. And we're always gonna take action for the people that we love, and we deserve that in return. Blessed, blessed be. Hail to Inanna, the queen. I'm back. I decided to get some messages from Inanna to us to see, you know, if there's anything she wants to tell us. So I'm going to start with the Mary Magdalene Rose Oracle, because we have roses here for her. She likes roses, so let's see if she has a message from this. Number 15, Waxing Bloom. I never pulled this card, but it looks a lot like her card. That's funny. Same color palette. And she's holding a bell that looks exactly like the bell I have here that I used to call in Inanna earlier. Huh. Hold it up. Okay. I've never pulled this card before though, so we'll have to see what it says. Where's my book? There it is. Sovereign Queen. She is very sovereign. We mentioned that. Waxing Bloom. I am the waxing bloom. I feel the warmth of the sun upon me, calling me to reach toward the light, where my inner beauty will be fully expressed. I am the phase of growth signaling you to open and unfurl your outer petals. I am beginning to take shape within you, slowly open to the great promise of who you will become in your color, texture, and fragrance. I am the frequency of potential beginning to burst forward. I am the vibrancy of energy building. I am catalyzed by the warmth of golden solar energy. Meet the caress of this light. So this so far makes me think of like her willingness to be vulnerable and to like strip herself down and show her essence. Feel its pull for you to open and simultaneously feel the pull to remain closed. There is power in this alchemy. So also balanced with boundaries and self-protection of the sacred. Open, closed, vulnerable, boundaries. Receiving this card is soul growth. As the waxing bloom, my purpose is to support you as you show yourself more fully. You're in an active growth stage in your life. You've been feeling that something new is budding within you and now is ready to receive more of your attention and focus. It's time to bring this idea, project, or relationship, whatever it is, to fruition. You are advised to bring your attention toward that which wants to fully bloom through you. The structure is coming together around this precious desire that wants to be seen and shared with the world. What an amazing miracle. While this is an exciting time, you're also likely experiencing a tension point between remaining closed, perhaps protective, and beginning to open. The project, idea, desire is not quite a tight bud anymore, but it's also not in full bloom. This is a natural and sacred phase of growth. During this time, be sure to create clear boundaries around your time and energy. Focus your attention on what is budding through you, but be aware that it's wise to not fully reveal this new arrival publicly just yet. Be mindful if you tend to be swayed by the opinions and influence of others. Continue to listen deeply. What did she say? Read it. Hold on. This connects back to what she told us. The capacity to love deeply without solid boundaries is reckless exposure to self-erasure. So if you know you tend to be swayed by the opinions and influence of others, protect that shit until you're really ready to expose yourself and your creation to the world and you feel solid in it. I can relate to this too. Continue to listen deeply to your personal wisdom. Your soul purpose doesn't require the validation of others to come into full bloom. Take a moment to feel how this tender phase creates a desire within you for more integrity and self-honor. Consider this. How do you seek validation outside yourself? That's kind of what she did when she went into the underworld and she had her crown and her jewelry and all that. It was like, hello, I'm a queen. I'm here. Like, recognize me for what I am. They didn't give a shit. They were like, we're going to take that shit. It doesn't matter here. It's like, I don't know, bougie girl going to the hood. Like, actually, you probably want to take that Rolex off, you know? Like, bad idea. Boundaries, self-protection, healthy and mature in certain scenarios. Let's see what else she wants to tell us. Feeling called to the mermaids. Oh, and the animals. Beauty. Ha! She is the goddess of beauty. Grace, loveliness, integrity of form and spirit. She's all about integrity. That's what she was just telling us. So this is a card about, you know, how beauty is, like I was saying earlier, we can get duped by attraction in our lives and surrender our boundaries and things like that. But beauty really is from the inside and the outside, you know, like external, internal, balancing each other, like having a good heart and living in integrity and in truth. Integrity of form and spirit is what she says. So let's see what else can come through here from Inanna. Beauty, the sensing of something deeply harmonious and pleasing to the eye and to the soul, is a form of great divinity. Beauty in some ways is considered to be an artifice, something that can be approximated and conjured through makeup, hairstyles, behaviors, and other forms of camouflage and cover. But true deep beauty, such as the kind the mermaids know and see, is the kind that emanates out from a soul that knows itself. You know yourself by traveling to your underworld and digging up the shit. Beauty is not an illusion, but an emanation from the soul that shines out. And to wish to be beautiful, to wish to have this said of oneself, is simply the yearning for the soul's perfections to be acknowledged. Humans are also at present very narrow in their definitions of beauty, for there is also beauty in our aged ones, in their white hair and tired eyes. There is beauty in asymmetry of injuries and the irregularities of form that befall so many. I actually write about this on my website. True beauty is in, to me, what survives the storm. Resilience. A rose growing through concrete. The scars, you know, like you've been through shit and you've stayed true the whole time, and you're still out there blossoming as soon as the light of the sun comes back and shines down on you. Love that. If this card has come to you, it's time for you to understand that your own beauty must be acknowledged and tended to, not with the unseeing eyes of a culture that wishes to sell you the fear that your form is imperfect and make a culture of neurotics who fear being rejected for their lack of youth and shiny hair. This beauty is deeper. It is to shine. It is to enhance and becomes your own true self. It is to be healthy and as well as you can be at this moment. It is to speak not only the words that may be true, but words which are also kind and graceful. Nourishing to the souls of others, supportive of their potential and their own beauty. Beauty cannot be separated from appearance, but the way in which you regard yourself will immediately impact those who regard you. If you do not regard yourself with eyes that can see your own beauty, that beauty may well go unseen by so many others. Even our young and undeniably beauteous ones are often unable to see their own form as lovely. Always we teach them to find faults and then spend their energy fixing themselves, while there was a far greater task for them. If you received this card, make every act of self-regard one in which you can see your beauty. Undertake your beauty rituals with intent and great import and care, and awaken the beauty that has longed to shine out from you. The tools we mermaids have been gifted with are also our gifts to you. Our comb represents the precious and sacred nature of caring for your physical selves. Self-care is sacred and it is a ritual, and that's actually exactly why I created my ritual moon bath sets, is for women to be able to carve out time in their schedule to have a self-care ritual where you do this super special bath set that's imbued with energy from the full moon, bubble bath, bath salts, a candle, and then you meditate with the ritual oil and the ritual candle and the moon spray in silence for about anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes, and then journal about what guidance you received from your higher self. As you light the candle before your bath, you set your intention. So sacred self-care is being pushed by Inanna and the mermaids and by me. So if you feel called, check that out. In acknowledging that your bodies deserve time and reverence, there is a ritualistic element to all beauty routines that can be lifted out of the mundane and commercial world and into the sacred, making of your bodies an honored temple which you love and respect and demonstrate gratitude for. By honoring your body, you honor most deeply your soul and the spark of life itself. And I know this is from Inanna because what I wrote down from her in my meditation was, you are a sacred vessel, treat yourself as such. So that includes like the products that you use, the foods that we eat. I've actually been doing a food cleanse the past 2 days. So this is right on time. This last paragraph says, it's time to tell yourself of your beauty. It is time to care for your beauty, to undertake rituals for the skin and the hair and the teeth, but ones which enhance your own unique self. It is time to use pure natural products. It is time to create of your form that which you feel to be a pure expression of your own self. For within that self lies the beauty of you. That also, yeah, I'm thinking about dyeing my hair like purple or something. Why the hell not, right? Like, YOLO. We all express our beauty uniquely with like different jewelries and headbands and whatever. Okay, I'm gonna do one last card here from the Shaman's Dream Oracle. Oh, and I was gonna do an animal too. I forgot. Yeah, we're gonna do that too. Unmarked Trail. Revelation. I don't know how that connects just yet, because it's an unmarked trail. Surprise, even to me. Okay, let's see. What you got for us, Inanna? I'm up for the challenge. Your girl loves a good challenge. Okay, unmarked trail, an unprecedented experience, discovery, revelation. You're being called now to embark on a sacred journey. The Arthurian knights, in their quest for the Holy Grail, had to make sure to take an unmarked trail so that no one had ever followed, or they would not accomplish their goal. Likewise, you must enter the darkest forest of your soul via a route as yet unidentified to find what you seek. The manicured paths will bring you only temporary pleasure and later greater pain. Stop it. You already know there is no reward at the end of the road you are following. You are only killing time. Pause, breathe, and commit in your heart to a sacred endeavor. Vow to not look for old solutions that may have worked with past challenges. Get out of character, try the outrageous, and keep your quest private. Now is not the time to speak of the voice that called you to embark on the unmarked trail. That time will come. The unmarked trail can be a sign that you have already made a choice, even if you do not want to acknowledge it. Be at peace with what your heart knows to be true. Your heart has already been made up, and your mind will follow. Pack lightly, taking with you only essential beliefs that you know to be trustworthy under all circumstances. The universe has your back. Interesting. So this was probably Inanna on her pathway into the underworld. However, that was marked by 7 gates. So that was not an unmarked trail. She's telling us that our path into the underworld is an unmarked trail, is what I'm gathering from this. Like, maybe the ways in which that we've done shadow work previously are not how we're going to be able to do this shadow work. But it sounds like, yeah, we need to switch it up and do something different, because we know where this road goes that we're on. So we got to get out of character and try something outrageous, and then do it privately. Your heart has already been made up, and your mind will follow. I don't know what she's getting at here. Let's see. I was gonna pull an animal card tonight, so let's see if that'll shed some light on, or some darkness, on the unmarked trail. Tell me more about the unmarked trail. I think it's a squid or an octopus. Adaptation. Well, that's kind of what she's telling us to do, is to adapt, right? Like, take the unmarked trail. That's how we evolved as humans, is to adapt. So let's see, is this a squid or... No, it's an octopus. 82. And that reminds me of a reading that, of a girl that I watch. Her name's Andy, 13 Moon Tarot. Shout out to her. Love her. She's great. She did a reading about these Dumbo octopuses who go into the Mariana Trench, which is like the deepest point in the ocean, or like one of them, and they're able to go in the trench through these little cracks. So they're like deep in the most deep of the underworld, and they're able to go in these cracks because they're like different, and they use their ears because they have like Dumbo ears, so it's like echolocation. So maybe some like clear audience might be relevant here. Anyways, let's see. Adaptation. Octopus. Okay, yeah. This card represents adapting to new situations, flexibility, and adjustment. Octopuses are fascinating, intelligent creatures with the ability to adapt their bodies in many ways, from camouflaging themselves, just said that, by changing the color of their skin, to mimicking the movement of their other marine life, to squeezing in and out of incredibly tight spots. They are even capable of leaving the water for a time to avoid predators. Much like the salamander, octopuses are regenerative creatures capable of regrowing limbs and can disguise themselves with shells and sea debris to avoid detection. This card symbolizes adapting to your surroundings with ease and agility. It is the ability to think on your feet and outside the box. The octopus card may urge you to read a situation from a new angle or take a new approach to your problem. The octopus is a creative problem solver, and this card encourages you to be the same. Take a step back and do not get tangled up in a crisis. Regroup and begin the resolution afresh. I'm going to read the shadow reading, just in case. I don't know if it's relevant for everyone, but it might be. In mythology, the octopus was often associated with the sea monster Kraken, a giant many-legged beast that was a favorite subject of sailors' tales. Folklore and art depict giant octopuses who tangle themselves up within the rigging of ships and drag seafarers down into the ocean.
When we consider these symbols alongside a shadow reading of the octopus as a representation of adaptability, it may be seen as a warning to get out while you can and not embroil yourself in something so much that you become entangled by it. Adapting, adjusting, and changing yourself can take great energy, and sometimes the reward is not worth the price. The correspondences element is water. Flora is balsam, peppermint, campanula, camphor. Stones, blue chalcedony, bloodstone, brown jade. Spellwork, moving to a new home or country. Travel magic, aid in seeing an alternative path through a difficult situation. I feel like we need a little bit more about this unmarked trail. Oh, the moon. Inanna, can you please tell us more about this unmarked trail? Okay. So we got the moon. 9 of Cups reversed. And 7 of Swords. So the moon represents the subconscious. So like that shadow work that we're talking about doing is the point. So maybe, okay, the way that we would do that. 9 of Cups reversed. So the 9 of Cups, it's typically about fulfillment, but in this deck, like, this girl looks pissed. She's got all 9 cups, but she don't want them. She wants something else. She wants the 10th cup. Like, she's like over it, but it's reversed. So I think that means maybe the end of lack of fulfillment. So beginning of fulfillment, find what fulfills us. And then the 7 of Swords, though, is also a weird one. Like, this girl just like made off with these swords. Like, she like just stole some shit. So Inanna, what are you telling us to do here? I think she's actually, you know what? I think she's saying take matters into your own hands on this one. Like, when she went back to the earth and saw her husband messing around on her, she took his ass to the freaking underworld. And like, I'm not saying like go seek your own, reap your own vengeance against people. I personally let go and let God. But she is saying like switch it up somehow. So let me see. Tell me more about the 9 of Cups reversed. Passion. Okay, yeah. Because this girl is like discontent as fuck. So she wants us to ignite passion. Do what excites you. Get fired up about your life. Increase your energy levels. So going into the subconscious to discover what excites you. And just do that for your own reasons first. Like, don't go sharing that out in the world just right away. Like, just do it because you love it. And what about the 7 of Swords? What's up with that? What's she telling us to do with the 7 of Swords? Inanna, what do you... 8 of Wands. Communicate. Stick up for yourself. Set boundaries. Yeah, don't be afraid to be more self-interested. Basically, I think is what she's telling us here. Is you gotta look out for number 1. Because as women, we are freaking trained and programmed to look out for everybody else. And we should, of course, always look out for other people. But also look out for ourselves in the process and balance and integrate those two things. And so I think what she's saying here is like, you know, this is the other side of the coin, so to speak, is like stealing from people. Like, we're not trying to do all that, but we do need to balance our self-erasing tendencies with a little bit more self-interest, a little bit more I love me, a little bit more beauty ritual going on, and being obsessed with ourselves. And that will bring the new opportunities to us. Quickly, actually, according to the 8 of Wands. Incoming. Blessing incoming. Okay. I think that's all she has for us today. I hope that all made sense and was helpful. Mwah.